Hello friends and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this tutorial, we are going to create this amazing Netflix logo animation. And the best part is we are not going to use any third-party plugin for it. It's just built-in effects that are controlling this animation. Before we dive into the video, I wanted to tell you that this tutorial is divided into two parts. In the first part, we will create the most critical part of this animation, that is left side of the logo, which is splitting into very thin lines with random colors and then disappears with some 3D depth. Rest process is simple and we will do that later on. Let's begin. First thing first, let's create the basic shape. So take rectangle tool and create one on the screen, not very big. Now by using align panel, let's center it horizontally and vertically. I'm doing it just because I want whole logo nearly center of the screen. If that will be so far away from the center, it will be very difficult to scale that proportionally. Now hit Ctrl or Command D to duplicate this layer and move it to the right side a little bit. It's looking like play button right now. So duplicate upper layer and set it in between of both rectangles. Now, since default transform parameters don't have skew option, so what we do, we will apply transform effect on it. Set skew axis to 90 degrees and skew value to -22. And let's change its color to bright red. And of course, below layers should be dark red. And if I zoom in a screen, on both sides, corners are not matching perfectly. So maybe we should increase skew value to -22.5. It's matching perfectly now. We are ready to create further animation. But before that, let me rename these layers. Call it and left, this one and right, and this is and middle. And now let's begin most complicated part. Let's create a new composition and make it pretty big. That is 3000 by 7000 pixels. Very big. You will see why I'm doing it in a moment. Just remember that you will need a vertical composition, not horizontal. Now let's create a new solid in same size as of the composition itself. And let's apply fractal noise on it. This is very interesting effect. As you will understand it, you will become big fan of it. Endless opportunities are there. Let's change fractal type to string and noise to block. We don't need to touch contrast, but brightness value will be 10. Just invert it. Under transform settings, I don't want uniform scale. Set width to 20 and height to a large number, maybe 9000. You will get this type of jerk on both top and bottom. In order to solve it, you can obviously increase height, maybe 11 or 12,000, or you can just rotate it maybe on 50 degrees and problem will be solved. You can play with evolution as well, but we don't need it right now. We are done with the fractal. Now time to give it random color. So search for Colorama. Apply it. It will give fractal nice gradient. So let's open output cycle and using this wheel, you can control the gradient. It's just like Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, whatever you have used. Double click on any triangle to change its color. Click anywhere on the wheel to add a new triangle and select any triangle and drag it away from the wheel to remove any particular color. Well, I'm adjusting this gradient according to me, what I feel close to the original logo, you can use your own combination. Just one thing keep in mind, that is, fractal noise does not create transparent background. It does not contain alpha channel. So I'm using black color instead in order to merge certain lines with the background. Just understand in which pattern it's affecting line's color and to manage the colors on the wheel. Well, it's looking good. Now let's apply some glow on it. Increase radius to 100 and intensity to 1.5. Now use fast box blur and set it to 2 only. Very little blurriness should be there, and in last, since it's too much bright, so use hue and saturation effect just to bring down brightness. In this way, glow will be there. We need not to change intensity, but brightness can be reduced. We are done here. Now let's go to the composition 1 and put composition 2 at very bottom in the layer stack. So here it is. Since it's very big in comparison of the composition 1, so it's covering whole screen. So first we have to scale it down and fit it within the left side of this logo. So open scale parameter and unlink both values. Now scale it down to 2.5% in width and 4% in height. Open position parameter and set it below to the left logo. Let's scale it down a bit more. Yeah, that's perfect. Now duplicate this and left layer and put it below to the composition 2. It will be for reference only, but we will use it later on. Now use track matte on this composition 2 layer. Set it to alpha matte. So this will be visible within the left rectangle only. Now we have to scale whole logo, and for that, let's parent all layers with composition 2 layer. Perfect. Zoom in timeline and scale should begin from 20th frame. That's reference from the original animation. Add keyframe to scale parameter. Till 2 second 5th frame, it should scale slow. So link both values again and make it big. Let's set it to 4.5 or maybe 4.8. One thing you will notice, here both corners are disturbing, but don't worry, we will fix that later on. Now go to 2 second 27th frame and make it very big so that colored lines will cover whole screen and middle and right part of the logo will get out of the screen. That's fine. 72 in round figure. Unlink it once again and scale height up to 150%. It will make lines bit more clear. So it will first get scaled in both directions. Then it seems that it's spreading across the scene, and that's we want. Let's turn off right and middle part of the logo. We don't need that anymore. Now, when it's spreading across the screen, I want width of lines will also increase with it. So let's go inside of the composition 2 and this time add a keyframe to width of the fractal. And till 3 second 10th frame, scale it up to 40 pixels. Now come back to the composition 1 and lines width will also increase along with the main timeline's animation. And also there will be more clarity in the scene. And when it finishes scale animation, it should disappear from the screen in just 5 frames pretty quickly. Turn off this layer also So it will scale and cover whole screen. Then it will disappear. But if you look on the original one, it's not so flat. There is some 3D depth in lines. So let's create new solid. And remember, use only solid layer, not rectangle shape, because we will apply fractal noise on that and effects will not work with 3D shapes. So create a solid. Now apply fractal noise on it. Once again, set type to string and noise to block. But this time we don't invert it and contrast will be 200. Go under transform, unlink it and set width to 20 and height to 3000 because this time composition is not so big. If there are some jerks in lines, then set complexity to 1 and you will be good to go. Alright, now these lines should move from left to right, and for this purpose we will use offset turbulence. So let's add keyframe to it and move offset value to very left of the screen. Since animation will last till 4 seconds and few frames, so let's put playhead to 4 seconds and 5th frame and move offset value to very right side of the screen. This position will be fine. I mean, lines should be there at ends on the screen instead of the black screen. So lines will move from left to right. Press U key to open animated parameters and let's add keyframe to width as well. Increase its value, maybe 50 pixels. So lines will move along with increasing width. One more thing to do. Add keyframes to brightness and make whole screen white by increasing brightness to 200. Nope, 250. I believe 270 will be fine. Well, it's completely black and white till now. So let's make it colorful just as we have done previously. Actually, we can jump into composition too and let's copy all effects except fractal noise and paste it on this 3D layer. So here it is. And as I have told you, fractal noise doesn't create transparent background. So use black color instead to merge it with the background. And in the right side, there is mostly blue lines. Add a pinch of purple tone also. To give it more variation, change blue shade little bit. Alright. Increase blur amount to 3. Now everything is fine. Just make it 3D. Press apostrophe key to show safe screen measurements. Now open rotation parameter and rotate it to negative 75 degrees on y-axis. And let's shift it towards left side. Snap it to the middle of the screen. Also increase its size so that it will cover whole screen. That's fine. But here I had made a mistake. I have given it name 3D right and rotated it in left side. Let me rotate it in positive 75 degrees and adjust its position a little bit so it will animate something like this. But at the end, these lines should move faster. So perhaps here, let's add keyframe to position and at the end, pick blue handle and move it towards right side. So first, line animation will take place and then it will move quickly out of the screen. If you feel it too fast, make it slow by moving position keyframes. That's good. Now let's duplicate this layer, and we will have to flip it horizontally. And the best way to do it, create a null layer. Don't make it 3D. Parent this 3D layer with 2D null layer. Open scale parameter of null layer and set first scale value to -100. It will flip the layer. And now just delete this null layer. It will not affect the 3D layer. That's the beauty of After Effects. Now we have to change colors of the lines. This time it should be reddish. You can set it whatever you feel close to the original one. It's just my observation. That's good. Now both layers will animate same. So what you do, we will change timings of the animation by moving keyframes. In fact, we will delay animation of the right part. Still, it's pretty close to each other, so let's delay it a bit more. That's fine now. Let's turn on this comp2 layer. It will not be visible. So here we have to put both 3D layers below to the comp2 layer and set blending mode of comp2 to screen instead of normal. Bottom layers will show up, but there will be too much lines. In order to control it, we will adjust opacity of the 3D layers. And this animation should begin before other animations will happen. Perhaps this will be good position. Open opacity parameter, add a keyframe to it, set its value to 0, and till this frame, set its value to 100 again. And it will be good if you do same with the glow intensity as well. Do same with the bottom layer. So when 3D lines will start to appear, flat colorful lines will start to disappear from the screen. Or maybe you can tweak these keyframes a little more, whatever you like. Now duplicate this 3D layer and set its mode to screen. When blue lines are going off the screen, there will be some red lines in last on the right side also. I think this time will be good. So just trim this layer, open animated parameters, and let's tweak these keyframes so that there will be some difference in the animation and there will not be too much lines at the end. Okay, to see the real difference, let's change its color to red first. Orange and red colors combination will be good. And we can also play with evolution settings in Fractal as well. And try to keep less lines at the end. But one thing you should remind, once lines will disappear, there will be red line in last. That's how original logo is animating. So play with evolution settings and keyframe position and try to keep it close to the original one. Well, I think we should change layer mode to normal again because it's very difficult to control line count in this way. All right, so first there will be blue color, then suddenly come red lines, which will also disappear. So animation will take place in this manner. Now let's simulate scaling speed of comp 2. Open graph editor and using handles make it slow in the beginning and fast at the end. Do same with the last keyframe as well. Not too much fast, just a little bit. Let me have RAM preview of it. I'm just forwarding video because it took long time to render it first. So let's see final output. That's awesome. Follow part 2 of this video and there we will complete our animation.